Hi everyone, Kiss My Mic here. So we have been raising chickens since 2019, so it's been a couple of years now. So I want to share with you some useful advice and recommendations on how to raise backyard chickens. So right now we have 27 chickens. We started with 6, but like we just kept adding and adding. So now we have 27. 3 of them are roosters though, so we have such a wonderful experience so far. We have a lot of learning experience, so I'm here to teach you or tell you kind of what are some of the things that you need to do to raise backyard chickens. So here we go. All right, so the first thing that you need to decide up front is whether you will raise them as chicks, or if you will get chickens that are already adults. So that's the first decision. You want to raise them as chicks, or you want to get them as adults already. Also, this video is really more for people who want to raise chickens as sort of pets, merely for their eggs, and not for meat. So this video is not for you if that's what your intent is. So yeah, first thing is decide, do you want to raise as chicks or do you want to get them as adults? There are pros and cons between the two choices. Let me go through some of them. So number one, in terms of the pro, first, if you raise them from they're young, you will have, you'll go through the whole experience. So the pro is that you will really see everything from the beginning, right? So that includes the joy of being able to do it, the knowledge, and it's really not that difficult. It's very easy. I'll share in another video the specifics of how you can raise baby chicks, but basically all you need in terms of your setup is you need a little box that you can use for your chicks, depending on how many you're raising. As I've said, we started with 6. We thought that was a good number to start. So as you're raising them as chicks, they will stay indoors with you in the house. So find a nice area in the house that gets enough sunlight, so maybe next to a window or something, and then do your setup. We use some of those kind of compartment boxes, those plastic boxes, and then basically all they need is food and water. So go to your nearest Tractor Supply, grab the food, grab a food container, set it up, and then also the water, and then put some pine shavings, because that helps absorb some of the odor, yeah, right? Because they will naturally poop. So that's the basic thing, and then the rest is really just to make sure it's clean, that make sure that they have regular water, regular food, and then they will stay there for about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, the indoor setup. And then after that you can start preparing them to move outside. So that will be a different story. But I'm going to really the pros and cons of raising them as chicks. So for me, it's the joy from doing it, learning everything. And honestly, for me, I think you will develop a better bond with the chickens if they grew with you. Like every day as baby chicks, we see them inside the house. You will hear them chirping. So in the morning, as I'm getting my coffee, I always just look at them. They'll already start chirping. They're like chirping the whole time too. They're like baby chicks. They always have that sound that they're doing. It's really nice. So we give them names. So we found out that they actually know their names. They respond to their names, and they're just so sweet. Our first batch, our first 6 chickens, I'll show some pictures in this video too. We would see them every day. They would come to us. Even when they're baby chicks, they will go on my hand and they will just hang out with us. And then when they're adults, they love people. They will kind of like, some of them were on my shoulder. So that's really the biggest pro of raising them as chicks, is the joy, the learning, and they will develop better bonds. In terms of work, it's not that bad, right? You just have to do a quick setup. So actually, that maybe is the con that I can think of for raising them as chicks, because you know, you just have to kind of pay more attention to them. um, Health issues, you need to make sure, aside from food, you know, they need some electrolytes to kind of help with their immune system. And you know, we give them protein. Sometimes we make like you know, egg, we sort of kind of fried the egg, scrambled egg without seasoning, and then cut them into pieces and then give them a few, you know, like once a week or something. So there's a little bit of work involved. And then honestly, the worst part of raising them as chicks is what they call the pasty butt. So pasty butt is really as it sounds, you know, their butts get stuck, and you need to kind of pay attention to that, because it, you know, sometimes if they have pasty butt, it's blocking basically their ability to poop, and that can cause issues. So that's the only thing. So if that happens, you can just use like a cloth to wipe it, but otherwise that's really it. See, there's a rooster crowing. So that's the first thing about how to raise backyard chickens. First decision, decide if you want to raise them as chicks or get them as adults. My personal recommendation is to get them as chicks, because we want to learn, we want the whole experience. All right, step number 2, how to raise backyard chickens. Well, so after some time they've been staying with you indoors, it's now ready, you know, they're now ready to go outside. So the next step in that process is to make sure you prepare their chicken coop. So that's quite a process too. Honestly, this is probably the one that requires the most work. So depending on how many you've picked to raise, if you pick 6, if you pick, you know, more, then you will find a chicken coop that will be appropriate for the number of chickens that you have. And there are many different kinds of chicken coops too, and I will create another video to review the different types. It can get a little pricey, but honestly, I would prefer and suggest to go with quality over those cheap ones, because the cheap ones, they fall apart easily. So really, when it comes to setting up the coop, make sure to focus on quality. So for their coop, it's the same principle. So as when they were baby chicks, right? You just need to make sure they have food. So for us, we have like food containers like that, right? And then you can just have their food over there, and then they need water. So there you go. We got water containers as well. And then the same thing, we put hay, you know, just for them to be able to kind of you know, absorb the odor and everything. And then inside the coop itself, we have pine shavings. And then most importantly is they need to have a place for nesting box. So most of the chicken coop comes with kind of the nesting boxes already. I don't know if you can see it from here, but I'll show you an example of kind of the chicken coop setup that we have with the nesting box. And honestly, that's it. So once that's ready, then your chickens can now go outside. For us, we sort of customize their chicken coop because we want to give them an outdoor space to be roaming around. So we have kind of like a big, you know, you can see here's a big area. So like that whole thing. And then in the back over here is another area for them. So that's their house. So, you know, it's for them to walk around. They get some dirt. Oh, we'll talk about the dirt earlier, why it's important. They use the dirt for their dirt bath. That's apparently how they clean themselves. So, you know, like people go to swimming pool and we have our bath. What they do is like they dig like dirt and they bathe in that. And you know, it's really interesting to see. I think there's some here, some over there. That's like, you know, they dig. See if there's some here too. There it is. See, you can see the dirt, you know, they're digging. So that's really the second thing. And make sure it's clean. So you clean the coop regularly, replace their hay, we check their water every day, we check their food. Chicken coop, you know, we have a chicken coop over here. It's actually kind of like a, you know, we chose a bigger one because we have 27. So this is actually supposedly like a mini garage or something like that, right? So a storage shed. We transposed and reuse our sort of storage and make them their chickens. What else? In the chicken coop, they need to have like a roost. That's where they sleep. Yeah, basically food, water, clean place, nice area, sunshine, nesting box, and roosting. That's pretty much it for step number 2, preparing their home, their chicken coop. So that's another step in the process. All right, step number 3. I think this goes beyond the basic food, but depending on how much you want to treat them, we often give them additional treats. So they have different needs, right? Depending on the process. So usually in the beginning, when they're at the 8th week, or they're just growing, right? So we buy them oyster shells. It can help kind of build some calcium for them, make them really stronger. It also helps because they need to lay eggs, right? They need to have that energy. What else? During the baby stage, when they're chicks, in their drink, sometimes they need electrolytes as well. Once again, that's how they kind of build some energy. And then once they're adults, we give them occasional treats. So aside from kind of the feeds that you get from Tractor Supply, we're also giving them some, I sometimes I grab some grass. Oh, there's somebody here. There's a grass that we feed them. Sometimes we get some vegetables, like leftovers, right? You have leftover salad. They love it. Different kinds of vegetables, different kinds of greens. In the summertime, we live in the south here in North Carolina. It gets really hot during the summer, so sometimes we give them watermelons. So I think it's just part of the fun too, is just to give them more. A lot of times, if it's organic, like natural fruits and vegetables, they're good for them. I don't know the ones that are bad. We wouldn't give them like garlic or onion or something like that. But leafy vegetables, those will help. Okay, so that's the third thing is, customize your kind of raising the chickens by giving them occasional treats as well for their own benefit. Ooh, there's somebody here. All right, step number 4, it really has to do with managing the temperature, making sure that it's optimal for them. Here in the south, the biggest problem is it's super hot. Oftentimes the chickens thrive more in cooler climates. They actually like it, in the winter time. Summer it's hard for them, because they get dehydrated. Some of the hens, because they have so much feathers, they really suffer from the heat. So make sure they have water. You refresh the water, you provide an area that they can get some break from the heat. And honestly, a lot of their kind of issues happen because of the heat. We have some kind of casualties before because of that, and that can happen. It's a normal life cycle for chickens, but you can just make it a little bit better for them in terms of surviving the heat. So for us, we actually have like a fan. We have like a battery operated fan that we sometimes put near their chicken coop so that it can have extra like airflow. What else do we do to manage the heat? We have like ice cubes sometimes that we would just kind of put in their water as well. Sometimes we create like a little bucket where they can dip their feet in cold water, and that's how they can also get some help from the heat. So I think that's the fourth thing, is just read about how you can make it a little bit better for them to thrive in the heat of the summer. All right, so the 5th step, basically it's just have fun. I mean, you can also, well, actually I just reminded me of something because I saw like a bird flying. Make sure that you make sure that the chicken coop is protected from predators, including hawks, so we kind of have like a little covering here. um Sometimes, there's so many other things, that can go underground, but so far, they're in good shape. So, you know other than that, just enjoy the process, collect their eggs. They're delicious. If I can think of any other advice, I will create another video, but for now, it's really, it's really worthwhile. And last thing, if you don't have a big, backyard, you know you can really manage to do it, with just a smaller coop. Also, if you have like a little, like an area in the deck or something like that. So anyway, thanks so much for listening and watching. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, and feel free to subscribe to my channel so that you get notified for any other videos that I will upload in the future. So happy raising to the backyard chickens, and have fun, everybody.